The first thing Paul says is love is patient.
Yeah.
Right? Like that long suffering. Long suffering. It's like that is the picture of love. It's like that's the first thing he said. He's like, man, Corinthians, I got to be patient with y'all. Like, I am showing you my love in my patience, right? Like in this long suffering. Suffering builds character, and character leads us to hope. And it's like, man, that picture, I love that that's the first thing he says, because, man, this takes a long time.
It does.
It takes a long time to figure out how to love one another well. Hey, welcome to the Greater Marriage Podcast. Man, thank you for tuning in with us. We are the Millers. My name is Dustyn. This is my beautiful wife, Heather. And man, we love you guys. We love our Greater Marriage family. And the whole reason we started this is because our desire is to see marriages grow and be greater every single day. Marriage is work. Marriage is hard work. And we believe that if we can begin to equip you with some of the tools to put to work and to invest into your marriage, man, your marriage, that is not going to be seed sown on hard ground, but it's going to be seed sown in good ground, and you will reap a harvest from it. And we hope and pray that this blesses you and that your marriage gets greater because of it.
Yeah. We pray for you guys. We want your marriages to flourish and grow just like ours is flourishing and growing. So this is just a place that we can do just that as we dive into the Word together and talk about things that maybe aren't talked about enough in marriage, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we want this to be a safe place, like where people can jump into the conversation, ask us questions, where we can be vulnerable and transparent and share some of the things that we've gone through, some of the hardships that we've gone through, some of the things that we've done wrong, maybe some of the things that we've done right by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit.
A lot more wrong than right.
A lot more wrong than right. Lessons that we've learned, things we've learned from other people that maybe we're still applying, that we're still putting to action. And so we just want this to be a place where you can come and maybe gain some knowledge, have a little bit of fun, maybe laugh a little bit, maybe tear up a little bit. Who knows? Who knows what's coming? But man, if this has blessed you at all, please like and subscribe. Share this with somebody. We want to interact with you. Jump in the comment section. DM us on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on our website, greatermarriage.com. We've got free resource for you there. And we want to get to know our greater family. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. We love y'all. And we're just excited to be able to do this.
Yeah. So today we're talking about something that I feel like I hear a lot when people say, I don't feel in love anymore, but I'm not in love with him anymore. That idea of falling out of love. And actually, you were recently teaching a school of ministry class at our church, and a lot of the things that you were talking about, I just could not get away from that idea. You know, it's come up in conversation with people lately, and the things that you were teaching about, I was like, wow, this is the answer to that question. This is how we explain overcoming that idea or that feeling of not being in love anymore. And so I think that if we're being honest, a lot of us could probably say that we have had those feelings come up where it's like, I don't feel the rainbows and butterflies anymore, you know, and he doesn't take my breath away the way he did when we were dating. And the world wants to tell us, well, that means it's time to be out the door. You need to find somebody else who does. But the Bible tells us otherwise. Yeah. So I'm excited to kind of dive into this.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, you know, we hear all the time couples say like, I love them or I have love for them, but I'm not in love with them. I don't feel the loving. Like you said, it's all about what you feel. And it's like, I don't feel that loving. And the way that we used to describe love I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but the way that we used to describe love when we did student ministry is I always told our youth students, man, relational love like that you guys are feeling and experiencing right now, that's like relationship youth camp. Like it's all the feels, it's all the highs. And then when it dies down, it's like, well, like, why can't I feel that every day? You know, it's like, why don't I want to get baptized and want to get saved and want to cry? And, you know, it's like every single day. And I love youth camp. Listen, some of the greatest memories of our ministry lives were youth camp ministries. Baptizing kids in a lake and having, you know, services that went for hours and seeing kids have a moment with God. I love that. But I always told them what you feel is not wrong, but what you feel is not love. Right? And that's what we want to talk about today. It's like, man, what you're feeling at the beginning of your relationship is a good thing. The butterflies and that giddy feeling, like that's a good thing. And
those are from the Lord.
yes, and we want to create those moments in our marriage, right? Lasting moments. Like we don't want that to be like, oh, well, you're past that now, or that was the honeymoon stage. Exactly. Like you're past the honeymoon stage. Like don't expect to ever feel that again. We believe that you can feel those feelings again. We believe that you can create moments that will add a spark to your marriage, that will allow you to feel that feeling again, that overwhelming feeling of like, golly, I love them. Like, I can't wait to be with them. Or, I just love being with you. Like,
even something better.
Yeah, of course.
Those rainbows and butterflies that you feel in the beginning are so great, but that deep connection is so much greater. And sure, it feels different, but man, when you see like the work and the commitment that has been put in, that deep love is so much more.
For sure, yeah. And that's what we want to get into. And as I was studying for this class that I'm doing, so the class is called Biblical Leadership, and I kind of built this like mountain that, characteristics that make a biblical leader, and the pinnacle of the mountain was love. That, a mountain is this image of where God meets man, and the pinnacle of that is God's love for us. He is love. And so that was my last class, was love, this pinnacle characteristic that kind of sums up all of leadership. How do we lead people? We lead them in love. We lead them with humility and integrity and all of these different things. But love was that main one. And as I was studying this, one of the most famous books on business and self-leadership is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I can remember getting like my first sales job in college, and it was like the guy was like, "Man, you gotta read Think and Grow Rich. Like this is how you get successful. Like this is college doesn't eat my motivational self, my easily motivated self was like, come on, and I'm making $7 an hour reading Think and Grow Rich." And so I can remember reading that book and just, being like, oh my gosh, I've got to apply all these things. Like I've got to be a great leader. And as I began to think about this class, that book came back to mind because, of course, I'm talking about leading people, leading an organization, whatever. And I know that Napoleon Hill wasn't a believer. He's all about self, righteousness and building up yourself and leading yourself and self-help. And I don't need self-help. I need the Holy Spirit. That's what I need. And so in this book, he does talk about love. And I looked that up. And this quote just blew my mind. This is what Napoleon Hill has to say about love in the book Think and Grow Rich. He says, one who is loved truly can never lose entirely. Love is whimsical and temperamental. Its nature is ephemeral and transitory. It comes when it pleases and it goes away without warning. Accept and enjoy it while it remains, but spend no time worrying about its departure. Worry will never bring it back. That is the most anti-biblical view of love I've ever heard in my life. Like, that is not what love is. And I think this is the view that the world has. I'm just trying to find love. And it comes and it goes and it's whimsical and it's hard to grab. It's like the air, and it's like, man, that is not love. That is not what the Lord has called us to. That is not what the Lord wants for us in marriage, in friendships, in relationships, in family. Like, God has such a better picture of love for us. He is the picture of love for us. And as I was reading that, I thought, I know that Napoleon Hill didn't know God just from reading this, because 1 John 4:8 says, he who does not know love does not know God, for God is love. And I pray for people that think of love in this way, because I just want them so badly to experience the love of God. That unconditional, sacrificial love that, Jesus said that, no greater love does one have for another than to lay down his life for them. And that's what Jesus did for us. And that's what love is. That's what marriage is. And I think that people have a hard time understanding that or even desiring that type of love, right? We want the feelings. We want the butterflies. We want the Hollywood image of what love is. And that's not what God has called us to. He's called us to something deeper.
Intimidating.
Yeah, of course.
Because it feels like a lot of work. And it feels like, okay, if this is the type of love that God, the one true God, perfection shows us, how the heck are we going to be able to, produce anything even close to that? And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the Holy Spirit. And of course, we're going to fall short. Of course, we're going to mess up. Of course, we're going to say things and do things out of selfish ambition. But in our walk, in our pursuit toward becoming like Christ, He is the perfect example of that. And so in us choosing to love our spouse, whether we feel like it or not, we aim at exemplifying love the way that God did when He sent His Son.
Yeah, for sure. The first thing Paul says, 1 Corinthians 13 is like the greatest passage on love, right? And it's what we all know. It defines what love is, right? Yeah, every wedding we've ever been to, it quotes 1 Corinthians 13.
And that bride and groom, I mean, they are looking at each other like, here, love is patient, love is kind, love is not envy. And they're looking at each other like, yes, that is you. That is
yes,
me.
This is everything
I am
see.
Patient. I am kind. I do not envy. I do not boast.
And then you hear them chewing. And it's like, I don't know how patient I am.
That is one of my greatest.
You hear a fork on a plate and you're like, I don't know. The fork coming off the teeth.
That one doesn't bother me so much. But man, when you are eating right next to me, next to my ear, I can be in a great mood. And I hear you eating next to me. And I mean, I just.
Like nails on the chalkboard.
It just takes me off. Or kids. Kids are the worst.
Oh, yeah.
They'll go get the crunchiest snack, chips. Oh, chips.
Oh, man. Our kids love chips.
They come up, hop next to us on the couch. Just chomping on the I'm like, can you just move to the other side of the couch?
Breathing that sour cream and onion in your face. Just like, hey, Dad. Oh, man, I love you, kid.
Love is patient.
Isn't that funny, though? Okay, that's what I'm getting to. The first thing Paul says is love is patient.
Yeah.
Right? Like that long suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Long suffering. It's like that is the picture of love. It's like that's the first thing he said. He's like, man, Corinthians, I got to be patient with y'all. Like, I am showing you my love in my patience, right? Like in this long suffering, suffering builds character, and character leads us to hope. And it's like, man, that picture, I love that that's the first thing he says, because, man, this takes a long time.
It does.
It takes a long time to figure out how to love one another well. And I think we see love as fleeting or as fading, but God sees it as building. God sees it as a long-term thing. God sees love as something that requires patience, not something that is fading away and whimsical and temperamental.
I mean, if it were supposed to be temperamental and whimsical, the first thing he would tell us wouldn't be to be patient.
Of course.
Wouldn't be to be long-suffering.
Love is in the moment. Yeah. Love is right now. It's like, no. Love takes a long time, and it is very patient with one another. Like, all of these things that I'm going to say about love are going to take patience, because it takes a long time for those things to come into fruition, right?
The interesting thing about patience, too, it's like you think about the other things that are listed, love is kind. I think it's easy to look at our spouse and be like, oh, that was kind of you to do that for me or whatever. Patience is hard to measure. Because part of patience sometimes is not speaking up when you want to. How many times have you had to be patient with me and I had no idea?
Sure.
I had no idea that I was ticking you off, and you're just sitting there with your mouth closed, being patient in the moment. But there's no accolades for that.
Right.
I don't see that and say, oh, thank you so much for being patient with me. Right. Sure, sometimes maybe there's a more obvious moment. But of all the characteristics of love, patience is probably the one that is more under the radar.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, our ego doesn't get stroked when, we're patient with each other, because we usually aren't complimenting each other on patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Patience is definitely like a thankless job, a thankless characteristic, and it's one of those things that it takes integrity to walk out, to say like, you know what, I'm going to do this no matter if they see it or not, because this is about me. Like, everything that love is an action toward another. It's not about what you receive.
Right.
Right? Like, love is action. Love is work. Where in 1 Corinthians 13 do we hear him talk about what love feels like?
No.
What you feel is not wrong. What you feel is not love. It's not a feeling. It's an action. It's work. It's humility. It's putting others' needs above your own. And that takes patience. It takes time. And it takes the ability to be able to look at them and say, you know what? I'm going to put their needs above my own this time. Like, I don't need to bring that up. I don't need to make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. Like, I can explain my expectation, and I can explain, like, we can have hard conversations, but it doesn't change the way that I love you. The way that you treat me doesn't change the way that I love you and the way that I treat you. And I would hope that the response is the same. I would hope that as I lay myself down and as I serve you the way God has called me to serve you, right? Like, if we are supposed to be the picture of Christ in the church, it's my job to lay my life down for you. And it's my job to lay my will down for you. And it's not that I let you walk all over me. Jesus still had boundaries and disciplines, and he still made the vision clear. He didn't allow people to deter him for what he was put on the earth to do. But he also laid his life down for them and said, God, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And I think that in marriage, we tend to do the opposite, where it's like, do you even see, like, you did it on purpose? Like, I know what you did, and it's like Jesus looked at them and had compassion and said, you know what? They don't even realize. They don't even realize what they're doing. And I think that there needs to be more of that in marriage. Where you can look at one another and say, man, she doesn't realize that bothers me. She doesn't realize that makes me feel some type of way. And I can be patient with that. And I can say, God, forgive me for getting upset about it. Forgive her for making me feel that way. I need to go explain to them, explain to, to her, to him, whatever side of the relationship you're on. You as a wife, you go to your husband and say, hey, like, just so you know, I've got to forgive you when you do this because it rubs me the wrong way. And I need to explain that to you. But again, it's not the way you feel. And it's the long suffering where love is made real.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you think that people can fall out of love?
I mean, sure, because I think that we're talking about two different things. I think that people can fall out of feeling loved or feeling love for someone else. But that's not what true love is. And so I think that the saying can be true because it's like, well, but I think we're defining two different things. And so my answer is yes, because I understand what they're trying to say. But the truth is no, because that's not what love is. And so can people fall out of that feeling that you have in the beginning? Yes. That feeling is not love. Like, sometimes that feeling is lust. Sometimes that feeling is infatuation. Sometimes, the Bible has 4 different descriptions for love. There's familial love, relational, like brotherly love. There's erotic love, like romantic love. It's not always dirty. It's just romantic love. And then there's the God kind of love. I think that God has given us the other 3 to reflect the one that matters. And I think that we can feel that romantic feeling, that erotic feeling, that brotherly familial feeling, but it's not. God's love is the only one that's bound by the sacrifice that you give someone else. Everything else is bound by my relation to you, or my familiarity with you, or my marriage to you, or my intimacy with you. All of those things matter in the way that I love you in those other words, the way the Bible describes those other words. But in the God kind of love, the love that is shed abroad in our hearts, the love that God has called us to have for one another, it's bound by sacrifice. God proved his love to us. He showed his love for us by giving his son. He proved it. He showed it. He did it. That's what love is. Not a feeling, right?
Okay, I'm going to take a stab at really that phrase as a whole, falling in love. We hear that all the time, falling. Our wedding song was Can't Help Falling in Love.
Come on.
And I think the more I've learned about love, I think we need to toss that phrase out the window altogether. Because, think about it. Falling isn't something that happens slowly.
Sure.
It's something that happens quickly.
Yeah.
When you fall, it's sudden.
Oh, man.
Quick.
Yeah, like tripping over the dishwashers. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we got a little story for y'all. Story time.
Sidebar.
Sorry, Dana. I cut you off. Do you want to finish that thought? Okay. Heather loves this story. If Heather's sense of humor could be summed up in like a Vine, I'm going way back, in like a 7-second video, it is just someone falling on their face. Like that is like your love language when it comes to comedy.
I mean, the best one will always go down in history as the girl with the 8-inch high heels at the bar. I know.
Losing them ankles and then just whop. Oh, man.
The ankles just get go. Good God. It gets me every time.
Heather loves it. So, the other day, I've got my Ted Lasso cup. I believe in believe. Big Ted Lasso fans. And my bright red coffee mug. I'm headed to work. I'm going to finish my coffee. We've got an island in the middle of our kitchen. On the backside of the island is the dishwasher. So I'm going to be a good husband, finish my coffee, put the mug in the dishwasher, and roll out.
I don't know if I had forethought in any of that.
I would hope that I did. I'm buzzing around the island in the kitchen to put my mug away, finish my coffee, and get out the door, right? And I've got my mug up like this, finishing that last drop of coffee to survive. And probably Monday morning, and I whip around the island, and the dishwasher door is down. Heather had been loading dishes and was waiting so graciously for me to put that cup in.
That last cut.
And so she left it open for me in love. And my ankle hit that dishwasher harder than it's ever hit anything in my life. And I hit the ground in like a half a second. Just boom, whop. Like I hit the ground. My mug slams on the ground. The handle stays in my hand. My mug goes flying. Break the handle off. I stand up. I think Heather sees like my hand with the handle come up on the counter. Help myself up with like this like deathly sound. I stand up and I'm like, I just broke my mug. I gotta go to work. And I put and Heather's very gracious. She's like, are you good? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'll glue it together. Like, you roll, we're good. So I like set the mug down and the handle down. Then I roll out to work, just defeated, hurting. My ankle's hurting. I get to work. I settle down. Yeah, I'm no longer mad. I'm no longer angry. And I just text Heather, how did you not laugh? And all she said back was, it was very hard. When you fall fast, yes. Right?
Oh, look at you. Jesus brought that.
Man, brought that right back around.
Okay, so when you fall, yes, it is sudden. It is fast. It is unexpected.
Yes.
And I would dare to say that love is actually the opposite of that.
Opposite of all those things, yeah.
It takes time. It should be slow moving. Yeah, maybe the feelings come fast initially, but it should be slow moving. It shouldn't be unexpected because there's an intentionality with it. And so the idea of falling in love, if that's bogus, the idea of falling out of love should be bogus too.
Yeah.
Because if a fall is quick and sudden, falling in or falling out would be quicker sudden.
Right.
And that's not how it happens. You know, when we talk to couples who say that they don't feel like, you know, they love each other anymore, it's not like yesterday was great, thought he was the greatest person in the world. Today, can't stand him. It's a slow drift,
yep.
Right? It's two people on a path together that over time slowly drift, and then they look up and they're headed in two completely different directions because they don't have their vision aligned anymore. So maybe we need to pick a new wedding song.
Well, the great thing about love is that, and to put it in perspective, love is not what you feel from someone else or what you feel about someone else. Love is what you can give. And that is something that can never go away because love is about my character. So if I'm out of love, I've lost control. Right? Because now my character's in question because I no longer have a desire to put to action what God has called me to do. And so it's like, hang on, that desire has nothing to do with you. Unfortunately, God has called me to do this no matter what. And so no matter how I feel about it, God has called me to love you. And thank God the Holy Spirit does this work in us that as I sacrifice for you, I do fall more in love with you. Yeah. I do get the feelings. I do begin to feel love for you as I pray for you and as I sacrifice for you and as we go through hard things together and as we come out of hard seasons together. It's like, God, is so good, and his grace is so efficient for us. His grace is so great and so overwhelming that he allows us, sufficient for us, that he allows us to grow in our love for one another as we act it out. And so, man, I would encourage you to put it to action. Like, don't worry. Don't focus on, well, what am I feeling and what are they doing for me? That's not what love is. When did God ever ask what we're doing for him? When did God ever say, like, well, should I really send my son? Like, what are they doing to deserve it? It's like, no. If we really believe this, if we really believe that God is who he says he is, and that he did what he said he was going to do, like if he really gave his son, then he didn't ask us. It had nothing to do with us, but it was all about us, and it was all for us. And so I did nothing to earn it, but yet I got it all. And if we think of love that way, it's like you don't have to do anything to earn it, but you get it all, babe. Like you get all of me. You get all of my love, all of my sacrifice, all of my patience, all of my kindness. It's all yours. Despite how I feel about you, despite how you treat me, thank God that in that you treat me well, and you are putting forth the same amount of effort that I am. Maybe some people are in a relationship where they aren't. But what does Paul say in Ephesians, right? He tells the women to win their husbands back with their conduct. So husbands and wives, win your spouse back with your conduct. Why? Because that's what love is. Love is the conduct that you have toward one another. Love is the way that you act toward one another, not the way that you feel. And God has called us to do that whether we receive it or not.
Yeah, that's so good. Such a good reminder. Such a good reminder for me. So we always wrap up every episode by saying, okay, how can we make our marriage greater today? I think you just hit it. Put it into action.
Yeah.
Show your spouse that you love them by choosing to be patient, by choosing to be kind, even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah. Send a text right now. If you're not with your spouse, right? Like call them after you close out this episode. Text them right now in the midst of this and say, you know what? Just needed to let you know that I love you. What can I do for you today? Shoot them, order them a coffee, have it delivered to their work or their home or wherever they are right now. Like do something for your spouse just to show I'm putting my love into action.
Yeah, that's good. And if you need other ideas, as always, we have our free resource for you on our website, 75 fun and flirty ways to keep the spark alive in your marriage. There's lots of ideas like that, of ways that you can put your love into action for your spouse.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this message today, this podcast today. We definitely enjoyed just talking about love, talking about marriage. And so make sure again, we love love. Make sure again that you like and subscribe, share this, man, interact with us. Go to greatermarriage.com, download that resource, put it into action. We would love to hear your stories, your questions, your comments, concerns, criticisms, whatever you got. We'll take it. And man, we love you guys. Thank you again for being here. Go be great.